Alright guys, how y'all doing? Hope this finds you well. Um, First of all, and most importantly, I love y'all. Just want to say that off the top. And thanks for everything y'all do for me and the creativity that you afford me. Because without y'all, I couldn't do this. So, thank you. Appreciate it. Love y'all. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into the Powerbomb Podcast for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And I'm going to go and give you some, of course, like I always do, thoughts on the matches. Some of these are going to be short, some of these are going to be a little bit longer because I got more thoughts about some things than I do about others. But anyway, here we go. First we had on the kickoff show, Kalisto and Apollo Crews. It's a good warm-up match. I enjoyed it for what it was slotted to be. But as I came through the show, I couldn't help but think this really should have been on the main card, and maybe I don't know what you would have put to replace it on this card, but maybe the next tag match could have been on pre-show, and they could have moved the Apollo Kalisto match to the main card, but that's just me. Kalisto picks up the W after Titus tries to interfere and costs Apollo the match. So then we kicked off the main card with Miz and Ambrose for the Intercontinental title. Miz really doesn't get near enough credit for how good he is at what he does. There was a stipulation here where if Dean Ambrose got disqualified, he would lose the title to the Miz, and Miz played with it perfectly. He did everything he could possibly do to try to get him to get Ambrose to get himself disqualified, up to and including telling Maurice to slap Miz, literally right in front of it. You could pick it up. He said, slap me, and it's right in front of the goddamn referee. And the damn referee, stupid as he is, because he was standing right there, almost called for the bell, because he thought. And see, that was kind of one of the things in this match that made me fuck, because he was literally standing right there and almost called for the bell thinking that Ambrose did it, but he stood there and watched Miz tell Maurice to slap him. It was nuts. Anyway, Maurice gets kicked out. Ambrose gets hit with a skull-crushing finale, and Miz is your Intercontinental title holder for, I believe it's the 7th time. It was good for what it was, and Miz definitely carried the match, in my opinion. Next we had the match that in my opinion, should have been on the pre-show, and should have been swapped out with the Kalisto and Crews matchup. That would be Noam Dar and Alicia Fox versus Rich Swann and Sasha Banks. I love Rich Swann to death. This is no secret. I have made that known here, there, and everywhere. This was a story basically told about the girls. I kind of feel like the guys were there for filler. And also, I kind of think that the guys took care of the good in-ring work, I should say, while the girls basically had a ECW style cat fight. If my voice was strong enough, I would do a Joey Styles cat fight yell for you. But my voice ain't strong enough for that, so I'm not going to do that. let's see. Uh, Swan and the Boss got the win on that, and I hope that ends that little mini feud. But I think they should keep Banks and Swan together because I think they work well. It could be a nice little story in and of itself. Next, let's see. Next, they had some time fillers. So they had Elias Simpson come in the ring and put a spotlight on him, and basically do one of his songs. The only good thing about Elias freaking Sampson right now is the fact that when he is on screen, Corey Graves goes nuts and buries him in a mound of epicness I have yet to see from anybody else. And I love that, so I'd like to see him more on TV just so I can hear more of Corey Graves' epic burials, but that's just me. Next, we had the Kendo Stick on a Pole match, Bayley and Alexa for the Raw Women's title, and I couldn't help but come out of this thinking that this was a glorified squash match, the likes of Cena and Lesnar from SummerSlam a couple years ago. Alexa basically controlled 90% of the match, and once Bayley got the kendo stick, she hesitated, and Alexa didn't, and basically just beat the shit out of her with a kendo stick for a couple of minutes and hit her with a DDT, and it was over. Alexa retains, which is cool by me because I like both girls, but I didn't think it would be on the level of an old Georgia Championship Wrestling. God bless my grandmother, and God rest her wonderful angelic soul. I didn't think it would be on the level of an old Georgia Championship Wrestling squash match. And it's basically what it was. Next, we had Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Hardy Boys. It was a good match. It was standard cage match stuff. Nothing to get too excited over, really. Cesaro and Sheamus wins. When the tag straps, they did the old spot from the 80s at the end where Cesaro and Sheamus were going over the top and the Hardys were trying to get out the door, and it was a photo finish, but Cesaro and Sheamus dropped to the floor before Matt could get Jeff pulled out of the cage, and it was a split-second thing. So Cesaro and Sheamus win the tag straps. Pretty good cage match, but it was, like I said, standard cage match stuff that you see in just about any cage match these days. Next was Neville and Aries for the Cruiserweight title. Neville wins. Match just never took off. Knowing what we know now about Austin Aries needing to take time off to heal, mind, body, soul, whatever, I think I understand why the match went the way it did. But my initial thoughts, I didn't know that at the time. My initial thoughts was, this is 3 times now that Neville has beaten him. Somebody needs to beat Neville, but Austin Aries needs to just be down lower on the card a little bit now, because or if you want to transition him to the heavyweight division, he can hang there too. I think it would be probably better to do that, but what do I know? But I'd say he's just about done for the Cruiserweight division. Let's see. Joe wins the Fatal 5-Way Extreme Rules match. This was an interesting match. I originally didn't have this pegged for a match of the night candidate, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this was an interesting match because Joe and Bray Wyatt worked, I'd say about 90% of the match together, which was really smart. And I thought it was interesting that at the beginning, um, because of the 5-way, somebody was going to be left nobody to fight with. So Roman let everybody fight themselves all over the building. He just stood in the ring, which was really smart. And I was glad to see that they played that up a little bit. At the end, like I said, Joe wins. So you get Joe versus Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. I still can't believe that's the name of a fucking pay-per-view. Oh boy. And I'm cool with that for now. I can't wait to see the potential for Braun and Brock at SummerSlam maybe, but I'm cool with a Joe and Brock matchup for now. And who's to say that they can't eventually go back to it later for a longer term feud? But right now, this is a match I think everyone wants to see, so I'm cool with everything the way it went. Originally, final thoughts here. Originally, I was going to go with match of the night and give it to Kalisto and Apollo because I really wasn't overwhelmingly excited about anything that happened on the show. And then the 5-way. Those guys busted their asses and, turned chicken shit into chicken salad and actually made it a pretty enjoyable match. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they tied. I'm going to give match of the night as a tie, the 5-way and the Kalisto and Apollo match, which I never thought I would give anything from the pre-show of a pay-per-view a match of the night nod, but they got it. It should have been on the main card, but it wasn't. That's fine. It is what it is, and that is your Extreme Rules report. It's kind of a lackluster show for me, except for those two matches, and I really kind of expected more, but I guess I shouldn't have. I wouldn't have been disappointed. But anyway, there you go. It's the Extreme Rules Powerbomb Podcast, and for now, I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for fostering. Without y'all, I couldn't do this, so I appreciate y'all to no end. And we'll talk again soon. Love y'all. Peace.